Peace and love to my divine family. This is ordained metaphysical minister Corbin reporting live. I want to thank you for rocking with the minister. This is going to be a beautiful video. Thank you for rocking with the Cosmic Christ University, the home of the esoteric knowledge. My question for you today: how do you tell millions of people across the world, how do you tell millions of people across the globe that they have superpowers? It's a serious question I'm asking you right now. How do you tell millions in this world, globally, that they have superpowers? Their birthright allows them these superpowers. That was a rhetorical question, but the answer for that is you start by small groups of people. You let them know that they have their spiritual powers. They have their super spiritual powers. And for the ones that get it, now they can take it back to their neighborhood, take it back to their city, take it back to their state or their country. And they can slowly but surely awaken the people to realize that they have superpowers. This video that I'm going to do today is going to be further proof that you have superpowers. That because of your connection to God, the source, the one, the great architect, that you can walk around here just as powerful as the one who told us initially who we were. So I want to thank you so much for rocking with the minister. By now, obviously, you know that that word is I am. Every time you use the word I am, be careful what comes after it. Because every time you use the word I am and that I am comes out your mouth, you are using the true, most powerful word of God. So what I want to do, I want those watching to think about all the times, whether you're 40, 50, 60, 70, or younger. Think about the time that you use the word I am in a negative light. I'm going to give you about 60 seconds. Is that real? Before I go in, I need you to know who you are. If I'm going to show you and tell you got superpowers, then you got to reflect on the things that you have done to not know you have superpowers. So once again, I want you to think for about 60 seconds for all the things that you said by using the word I am and the negative words that have came after you use the word I am. All right. Think about that. Now, I just told you that I am is the name of God. You don't have to be a church person. You don't have to be a spiritual person, but you do have to be a spiritual being to understand what that means to you. In the Bible, and I'm going to be paraphrasing, but if you have Google or you have your Bible, you will find this as well. In the Bible, Moses asks God, what shall I tell the people? I do believe it was the Israelites, but what shall I tell the people that your name is? God from the Bible responded back and said, let them know that my name is I am that I am. And that name will be the name that they will use for generations and generations to come. Yeah, you may know Yahweh, but once you break down even that name and start to understand the Tetragrammaton, and you understand that I am that I am, now you have a big responsibility in your life. You don't think so? Think about the time that you said I am S-I-C-K. I don't personally use the word, but you know what S-I-C-K stands for or means or spells out. Think about the time that you said that you are broke, but you used the I am in front of that. Or you said that you can't make that trip that you wanted to make because the bills are heavy. So imagine people say, I got ancestors and I'm protected, I'm spiritually protected. Now, if you know you have these ancestors, these guides, and they represent for you, when you move, they move, just like that. How do you expect them to move when the big mover, the big pusher, which is you, the true God on this planet, you're putting negativity in your mouth that goes throughout your body? Did you know that a negative word, a negative emotion, a negative feeling from you can be more poisonous than the poisonous medicine you get from the doctors? Did you know that when you speak negative of yourself, family, that you release a chemical release inside your body that causes more sickness than the poisons that you put in your body from those doctors and nurses and hospitals and pharmacies? Now, I'm not going to hold too much time. I just wanted to get you reintroduced with who you are. I'm going to give you more proof in just a minute about who you are, but I wanted to break this down and let you know that it's time to stop playing games. You got church people who are going to church. You've been going to church for 40, 50, 60, 70, a lot of years. These are my age groups, the 40 years old, the 50 to 60 to 70s. And they say Jesus, 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 not knowing they are worshiping a dead ghost. This is nothing to hurt your feelings, but once you research and know who Christ is, then this is the truth. You're praising a dead ghost. Yeshua is the name of the one they call Jesus. Yeshua was a real person. Yeshua was connected to Ethiopian. Yeshua was connected to King Solomon. You need to start focusing more on that than going in church and praising a dead ghost. This is why you don't have your spiritual powers. This is why everybody outside of you is evolving, eating better, living better. But you still are stuck in the third dimension. So you heard what I said about the I am. I got too many videos, but I want to now have the ones who are ready to graduate and become masters, become spiritual teachers to help this world evolve so we can really start building with our cosmic siblings and our inner world siblings again. So thank you for your patience. This probably be about at the most 35 minutes, because when I read this, you should feel the power awakening in you. Stop playing with yourself. Stop playing with God's glory. You don't have to go to church to hear about a ghost when you can look within yourself and see God for yourself. I came face to face with God, is what it said in the Bible, and it was the pineal, the third gland. Meditate. Let's go. Thank you for rocking with the Cosmic Christ University. I am, quote, end quote, I am is the full activity of God. If you don't know, now you know, students. I am is the full activity of God. Let's keep on going. Having placed before you so often the truth of God in action, the author says, I wish you to understand its first expression in the visualization. The first expression of every individual everywhere is the universe, either in spoken word, silent thought, or feeling, is I am, recognizing its own conquering divinity. I'm going to read that again slowly, because now for the ones who are spiritual, who are the ones who are like, oh my God, it is true. You have to look at your ancestors. You got to look at your siblings, the ones that are in church now, who are actually in a cult, C-U-L-T. And the preachers and the pastors and the bishops and the theologians are telling them to worship something outside of themselves. This is very important. You listen to what I'm saying. So when you go to church, they tell you to worship Jesus, who is outside of you. But the thing about it is, the true Jesus, Yeshua, always told you to go within yourself. Remember this, church people. It says, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all righteousness will be added unto you. Did it not? I'll give you 30 seconds to answer that. And I'll repeat myself so you understand what I'm saying. In your Bible, it says, seek ye first the kingdom, and all righteousness will be added unto you. Hit the like button if you know it said that. So here's my question to you now. Where did Christ, or the one you call Jesus, we know his name is Yeshua. Where did he say the kingdom of heaven was? Somebody play me some Jeopardy music. I would, but I don't have time. Right? Play some Jeopardy music. I'll wait. Where did Christ say the kingdom, your kingdom, the kingdom of heaven was? Thank you so much. Christ, the one you call Jesus, said the kingdom of heaven was within you. I can't understand why that has been so complicated. Well, I know, because you have people who, instead of going inside or looking within themselves and meditating, having a conversation with God so you can get a true conversation from God. They have been going to these churches where these people are putting on a circus show. It's all about how you look, Pastor. Look at Sister Jenkins in her church hat. Talking about this person, saying how this person is not representing of what God is, and nothing in church, nothing in those churches represent God. I can say this because I am an ordained metaphysical minister. I can say this because I've been putting the work in for over 10 years, traveled to Cairo, Egypt. Because I have a personal relationship with the true Christ within me. That's why I'm a cosmic Christ being. I am telling my family, you conscious cosmic Christ beings yourself, you don't need the church no more. It's a wrap. 86, throw the whole church away. Because if you were listening, church people, you will understand that the church, the temple, is you. It says in your Bible that the temple, the church, is built with no hands. No man can make that temple. So what are we talking about here then? The temple is you. I'm going to read what I just said again. I'm going to give y'all about 30 minutes because I got a smart audience. I just want to remind you one more time as we continue with the age of Aquarius. So let me read this again. I am is the full activity of God. Having placed before you so often the truth of God in action, I wish you to understand its first expression in individualization. The first expression of every individual, that means me and you, so I'm going to read that again. The first expression of every individual everywhere in the universe, no one is excluded. The first expression of every individual everywhere in the universe, either in spoken word, silent thought, or feeling, is I am. You don't have to speak to let yourself know I am this. Remember, there's some of you saying that you are tired, that you can't make it. So if you know, and the Bible said that ye are gods, meaning that your mind connects with the divine mind, which is God. If you know that, and God gave you dominion to rule over this world and subdue it, every time you go against yourself, you're going against God. Mic drop. Every time you curse yourself by saying you can't afford this, you can't go on this trip, you can't find love, okay, then you got spiritual family within you. You got archetypes within you that are saying, all right, bet. You heard what the boss said. The boss said he can't do it. The boss said he ain't got the money. The boss queen is saying she can't find a relationship. So let's make sure she doesn't. Don't get mad with the spirit. Don't get mad with your ancestors. You are condemned and you are justified by the words that come out your mouth. So who are you getting mad with if not yourself? See, that's why I got to bring it back to church people. It's easy being in church and giving Jesus or God a credit. Or it's easy to go through something in your life and blame the devil, not knowing that's yourself. Remember, cause and effect. A lot of you people out there are thinking that the effect is the cause, not knowing that your cause is what gave you the effect. Let's keep on reading. The student, which is you, the student endeavoring to understand and apply these mighty yet simple laws must stand guard more strictly over his thought and expression, in word or otherwise. You got to mind your mouth. You got to mind your mind. I'm going to read that again because I know somebody is sitting here to their laptop or whatever it is, computer, like, oh, snap. I'm giving to you simple as possible. We are in a quantum world. In the quantum world, string theory, all that good stuff, your mind better be really equipped and linked with God. I don't want to hear nobody talking about inner beings and extraterrestrial beings if your mind is not aligned with these beings. Your mind, the power of your mind can take you anywhere. There's people who want to go on spaceships who feel like, and scientifically maybe they can't, just meditate and go within and you can astral travel. You can go wherever you want to in this world. There's people like me who become in contact with gnomes, nymphs, salamanders, mermaids, all these type of beings, extraterrestrials, family members past to Pluto. Like these, the great ones, the deep ones, the Atlanteans, Lemurians. These aren't just Disney Channel conversation. These are your ancestors. But imagine people who've been church their whole life saying, no, 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 no. Jesus is the way. This is that. This is all. Lying to you. Not telling you who Christ really was. This is serious. This is very important. So let's keep on reading. I'm going to read that over again. And like I said, I'm probably going to stop at about around maybe 35, 40 tops so you can understand who you are. The student, remember, we are all students and masters in the Cosmic Christ University when you come in here. The student endeavoring to understand and apply these mighty yet simple laws must stand guard more strictly over his or her thought and expression, in word or otherwise. For every time you say, and I quote, I am not, I cannot, I have not, you are, whether knowingly or unknowingly, throttling the great presence within you. Let me stop so I can read that again. I am a minister, ordained minister who loves you, who knows that you are my brothers and sisters of Christ. I am a cosmic Christ being, no different than Yeshua 2,000 years ago, 2,150 years ago did. We are in the age of Aquarius now, the age that he was telling you about. It's time to get to work, family. Am I bashing church people or bashing them? No. But theologians, you know this time was coming. And you know that you hid so much for the people, whether you thought it was good, bad, or indifferent. But you knew that we were coming, and you know we were coming by the numbers to chin check that ass for what you have done to the spiritual people on this planet and lie to them and cover it up. But now they're at a time where they can know their truth. So I'm going to read this again. The student endeavoring, this is you, I don't care how fancy you think you are, I don't care if you went to Harvard, Yale, Hillman, Spelman, whatever, I don't care. You need to know this. I don't care if you think you're the bottom of that you are nothing. You need to hear this. The student endeavoring to understand and apply these mighty yet simple laws must stand guard more strictly over his or her thought and expression in word or otherwise. For every time you watching, every time you say, and I quote, I am not. I quote, I cannot. I quote, I have not, end quote. For you who say these things about yourself, thinking you can't get what you know you're supposed to get, this is what happened. You are, whether knowingly or unknowingly, my family, throttling that great presence, quote, end quote, within you. Because what did Christ say? Where did Christ say the kingdom of heaven? Let me rewind. Bleep, 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 bleep. Let's go back. Seek ye first. Now this is a sequence here. This becomes a sequence in the Bible. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all righteousness will be given to you or unto you. AKA, go within yourself. Stop worrying about this outside world and the people and being in people's business that's not your business, and focus on you and line yourself up with God, which is all good. So if you want your good, you got to go with God. Spell out good for me, G-O-O-D. Take one O out and what you got? God. Somebody spell devil for me, D-E-V-I-L. Take the D out and tell me what you spell. Quit playing with me. Quit playing with me. Christ told you where the kingdom was. You choose to go to church and listen to these people who just want to show off their apparel, who want to tell you what you ain't doing right, and the same time they out there doing more freakier stuff, more nastier stuff than you. And they behind a pulpit trying to tell you what to do. Hypocrites is what our brother called them in red letters in your Bible. He called them hypocrites. But you are going to church, listening to these hypocrites, and still claiming Jesus or Yeshua, his real name. So I want you to understand the contradictory. Don't call somebody contradictory or contradicting when this whole world is contradictory. Because you got people, Jesus, scream his name, say it. Yet, they tell you to have truth because they don't really want you to know that he was melanated. That's a whole nother situation. They tell you to have truth because they didn't want you to know that the woman's power at that time was more powerful. That Mary Magdalene was a part of an ancient mystery school of Isis. Mary Magdalene was part of an Isis temple when she was a young girl. So was Christ, was part of an ancient mystery school once he left and started traveling. They don't want to tell you that Christ and Mary had kids. So why are they hiding this truth from you? My ancestors are from France and Cathar. The Cathars from France. These are my ancestors. The Essenes, the Nazarenes, the Nazarites, the Ebionites. These are the ones that were outside of Jerusalem when all this was going on with Yeshua or Christ. When all this was going on, they were outside. Everybody knew about them. They were the perfect ones, the Perizzites. They knew the sacred knowledge, but ain't nobody mess with them because they don't mess with them. They the truth. That's where Yeshua, that's where Enoch. All this come from the Essenes and the Nazarenes. There was no place called Nazareth at the time of Jesus. Nazareth, they created after Jesus just so they could have a reference point. But Nazareth means Nazarene, which means the Essenes, which means the Nazarenes, which means the Ebionites, which means the Cathars. The Cathars came afterwards. They were in France. That's where Mary went after the crucifixion of her lover, her husband, her man. If you don't know this and you go to church and you've been claiming Christ and Jesus for about 40, 50 years, then if I were you, I would go confront the ones who taught you. And if they're not alive, then you gotta sit on that. You really gotta sit on this. If you don't know who the Cathars are, the Mandalines, if you don't know who these people are, and you go to church, then you should be really trying to we gotta sit down, pastor or preacher, because this brother's spitting. And when I researched this stuff, you can look up Cathars, Cathar, the Cathars, and how they were murdered, kids, women, supporters, murdered in a freaking crusade. The Albanesian crusade, I think that was. The Albanesian crusade. So the ones who did that are now in the Vatican. They're in your churches. These were Christ's true ops, if you want to use that word. This is who you go to church and listen to. The people who actually killed Yeshua and took everything from the Cathars. And then they give you the Catholics who murdered the Cathars. Anyway. The student, no, I just read that, right? Well, I'll read it again. The student endeavoring to understand and apply these mighty yet simple laws must stand guard more strictly over his thought and her thought and expression in word or otherwise. For every time you say, I am not, I cannot, and I have not, you are, whether knowingly or unknowingly, throttling that great presence within you. This is just as tangible as if you placed your hands about the throat of an out of form. Only when the out of form, your thought governing the hand, you can release it at any time. But when you make a declaration using the words I am not. Let me read that again. But when you make a declaration using the words I am not, you set in motion mighty, limitless energy that continues to act unless it is recalled and the imperfection consumed and transmuted. This is what we do in metaphysics. As a metaphysician, this is my job, to let you know that the power of your mind, just like Christ did, is all. That you first, before we get to a prayer affirmation, you must first deny all the negative out your house. If you want to clean your house, top to bottom, you got to make sure the webs are all gone before you worry about getting a nice cleansing of your house. The same thing with your body, your temple, your church. You must get all that negative that has been built up for years. This all lines with the chakras as well. You have to let all that go. Some of you are 40, 50, 60, 70 years old now, and there has been some abuse, physical, verbal, or sexual, that you never healed from, that got swept under the rug. Family members denied you, so you denied yourself. And some of you have never dealt with that, never released that. You blamed yourself. So now you have kids. So what do you think going to happen when unhealing has done? It goes right to the DNA and RNA of your kids. And this is what happens. So what this is telling you is, it is easier to grab somebody by the throat and release that. Release that tension. It is easier to do that than to put these negative words inside of your mind and accept these words as your truth. It's a little bit harder now because once you do that, you set in motion these limitless energies. It just told you. So I'm giving you a breakdown and an understanding of why you've been going through what you've been going through and how to stop it. Let's read that part again. Every time you say, I am not, I cannot, I have not, you are, whether you know it or not, throttling that great presence within you. And the author says, this is just as tangible as if you placed your hands about the throat of an out of form. Only with the out of form, your thought governing the hand, you can release it at any time. But when you make a declaration, you declare using the words, I am not, you set in motion mighty limitless energy that continues to act unless it is recalled and the imperfection consumed and transmuted. Transmutation is the word we're looking for here. Transmutation. Look up that word if you don't know. Transmutation. This shows you the enormous power you have to qualify this mighty energy of God. And I tell you, beloved students, dynamite is less dangerous for that would but liberate you from the body. Bars. I gotta get up on that one. Bars. Did you hear that? They said dynamite would be less deadly because unless if you get hit with the dynamite, boom, your body, you're free from the body. You're free from the corporal body, corporal mind. Let me read that again so you can understand. So my excitement is not overpowering the meshes. This shows you, family, the enormous power you have to qualify the mighty energy of God. And I tell you, beloved students, my beloved, I tell you, beloved students, dynamite is less dangerous, for that would but liberate you from the body. While these thoughts sent forth ignorantly by ignorance, these thoughts that were sent forth ignorantly and ungoverned bind you upon the will of re-embodiment indefinitely. They bind you upon the will of re-embodiment. That means you got to keep on reincarnating in this life. A lot of you feel like you've been here before. That's why you're tired. That's why you're fed up. You've been doing this thousands and thousands, some of you millions and millions of years because you haven't got it right. Now we're in the age of Aquarius where you have no choice but to get it right or be stuck in a lower dimension, a lower vibration, a lower realm. Your mind is powerful. So once again, I want to focus on the church people. Church people, if you know what I do. You know it's love. But you know it's also time. So think about that. Think about church people who go every Sunday and they read that book and half of them don't read it. To the ones who do, shout out to you. But you listen to your preacher and you choose to read certain ones. You skip over certain ones that are really important. But you just listen to the preacher tell you what you should be doing instead of just going within yourself. Those words are living words. And you are a living God because you are the representation. Your mind connects you to the divine mind, which is God. I'm going to say this again. Your mind connects you to the divine mind. That's what makes you co-creators with God. So the fact that you are not down this planet living your best life, you can't blame this family member. You can't blame that friend. You can't blame that ex. You gotta blame yourself. Now, if you have been through this life and you didn't know this and you've been dedicating yourself to church all the time, all right? And now you're probably not going to know this. But to know this now and still go to church, all right? And still have things going wrong with your life, now you know this. So now you have a responsibility to do about your life now that you know you got superpowers. Because you can't blame Jesus no more. Jesus is not the way to your powers. Christ is. Yeshua, when Yeshua was here, he represented us. There was this Elohim spirit that came upon him. Once that spirit came upon him about around 30 years old, until 33 years old, he put that work in. He traveled at around 12 and came back around 30. And then when he came back, the Elohim, because he put that work in as a kid, now he was blessed to have that impulse, that Christ impulse. And that's a name that's a word you should be having close to your heart impulse. Because there was a Christ impulse and there was a Luciferic impulse as well that came right after that Christ. So Christ put the work in, did everything he did to motivate the lives. And then after that, there was a Luciferic energy that came to undo or try to undo everything Christ did. Let's keep on reading. This shows you once again the enormous power you have to qualify this mighty energy of God. And I tell you, beloved students, dynamite is less dangerous, for that would but liberate you from the body, while these thoughts sent forth ignorantly and ungoverned bind you upon the will of re-embodiment indefinitely. So you're going to keep on reincarnating until you get your mind right, until you get your thoughts right. Let's keep on reading. I'm going to do about 40 minutes. Thus, you can see how important it is for you to know what you are doing when you thoughtlessly use your wrong expressions, because you are using the most divine principle of activity in the universe, which is I am. I am that I am. You should go, after this video, you should step outside, especially if the weather's good where you at right now, and even if it's not, go outside and say, I am that I am. In Hebrew, I do believe it is Echya, Asher, Echya. So it's Eyashereyeh. So you should be having a pen and pad already when you watch my channel. But in Hebrew, that name, that vibration, because especially back in our English, pretty much a dead language. When you go back to Hebrew, when you go back to the Aramaic, the true language of Yeshua, these were vibrations. So when they said it, you can feel the power in the word. So, for example, I am that I am in Hebrew is Echya, Asher, Echya. Look that up. So every time, this is God. God gave you that name to know who you are. I am. So now when you're standing on business and you really him or you really her, now you know why you are really him and really her. The church, can you imagine the church is telling you this? That I am. And some have. I'm not knocking all churches. But the ones that have you guys bound to thinking that Jesus, first of all, which is not his real name, and then they give you an image of Jesus, which is not his real complexion when he was on earth, you see what has been done. So now when we start adding up the Atlantic slave trade and the misinformation and the lies, you realize it. But you have to go back to Atlantis. You have to go to Lemuria. Then you have to go to the galactic systems when you're dealing with Anunnaki, Anu Enki. You have to go with Mother Yola, who was in Agartha, in the inner worlds, to see that unfortunately racism played a part. But we are still all one. But we have to address all these things at once before we can really realize about a spiritual unification that we're headed for. Let me read this again. And I'm probably just going to stop because I think a lot of you understand what I'm saying. I don't have to keep on going in this presentation. This is just a reawakening of who you are. This world is an illusion. The ancient ones in Hindu call this Maya. You have been stuck in the illusion, the glamour. That's why they give you idols to worship. That's why they give you sports shows and stuff. Not knocking it. But this is what you have to understand. We've been doing this for millions and millions of years. Now we're in the age that Christ and all the great ones knew about, the Aquarian age. I gave you 3 series about the age of Aries, the age of Piscean, and the age of Aquarian. So if you haven't watched those videos, look that up. But family, you are spiritual beings inside of a physical body, a temporal body, temporarily. You must know who you are. Because I can also give you the next lesson, which is after the I am that I am. Because once you realize that you are I am that I am and you move, now you are watching your words, you're not saying that you are S-I-C-K no more. You're not saying that you have a C-O-L-D or that you are broke. Now you know by watching your mouth for real, that if you just change the vibration and you say this, watch with this. I'm going to give you some examples right quick. Watch what I do. I am abundant of wealth. I am God. God is my supply. I am going to get that house I want. I am going to get that brand new car I want. But guess what? You just can't do that either. You got to get your behind up and align yourself up with the action. God is motion. Look up a word called verbum. V-E-R-B-U-M. That is a word with an action. Look up the word verbum. V-E-R-B-U-M. And then holler at me. God is a God of motion. You are a God. So if you're not moving, then how can you expect to get blessings from God? If you're not in motion, if you're not putting the work in to get the work, how can you relate to God? Because God is a moving God. God is motion. God is. You can't put no other label on God except God is always ising. He's ising. He's always moving and grooving, never losing, never snooving, keeping it moving. You know what I'm doing. So if you are stagnant, lazy, you waiting on somebody else to do something for you. You got a whole clique of people and they're miserable and nobody's winning and you hating on everybody else winning. That means you're not aligned to yourself. So until you align with yourself and God, which is you and God are co-creators in this world, then you're going to keep on falling, 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 falling. So let's wrap this up. I'm going to do 40 minutes. If you guys want a part 2, I got you. But all I'm saying as an ordained minister, metaphysical minister, all I'm saying as your brother, a cosmic Christ being in this world with you right now, stop making excuses. You now have the I am that I am. And once you know that, you will understand, I will be that which I will to be. Yahweh Christ. I am now introducing you, I am Yahweh Christ. So once you understand, and you are Yahweh Christ. So once you understand, I am that I am successful. I am amazing. I am going to be a billionaire. I'm already a billionaire. I am going to get that great relationship I want. You speak this to yourself. I am going to have my wallet and my pockets full with money. I am. And so it is. Amen is telling you about Amun Ra, who was Alexander the Great dad. Oops, we'll keep that going. Saying amen is saying Amun Ra, who was Alexander the Great, who was a mulatto. That was his dad. Read the story about Alexander the Great, the mulatto. Read the story about Flavius Joseph, or Joseph Flavius, the mulatto, who gave us the antiquity of the Jews. Quit playing with me, guys. You are special. You are amazing. And I'm going to read this so you can end your day knowing that you are now powerful than you ever were before. And if you knew this before, then it's your job, servitude. Remember, Christ is about love and servitude. So if you got your powers now and you own one and you got yourself right, now it's your job to help those around you. That's how we do here in this world as Christ beings. Shout out to the Great White Brotherhood, the Ascending Masters, people like Saint Germain, Mahavatar Babaji, all the Ascending Masters who are still with us on this planet. I thank you so much. You guys are the reason why I can do this. The 20 and 4 elders, you guys are the reason why I can do this. So let's go. I love you all, family. Just love yourself. Now, dear students, do you see that when you say I am, I can't even use that word. When you say I am S-I-C-K, you are just reversing the principle of life, which is naturally all perfection. God is all good. So you only separate from God. God is never separated from you. You separate from God from your ignorance. Come on home. Let's read that again. Now, dear students, my gosh. Do you not see, my beautiful family? When you say I am, and that word, that I am S-I-C-K, when you say you are S-I, that you are sick, when you say that, when you say that you are sick, you are just reversing the principle of life, which is naturally all perfection, thus requalifying it by your willful ignorance with something which is never naturally possessed. I'm about to go now, but I want to read that again. When you do that, you are just reversing the principle of life, which is naturally all perfection, thus requalifying it by your willful ignorance with something which is never naturally possessed. I'm going to stop there. Stop there. If you want more, because I got more. If this presentation, because some people, they can't do hour-long videos, and I understand it. Even this was probably too much as far as duration. But if you want more, holla at me, y'all. Now come on. Until then, you are now rocking with the ordained metaphysical minister. Remember, meta means higher or beyond. This is the home of the esoteric. Remember, esoteric means the hidden knowledge. This is the stuff they kept from you. Come rock with the Cosmic Christ University. One of the greatest universities, if not one of the greatest. Shout out to all the ones before me. All my predecessors who made me the great successor. Let's do this, and let's do this right. You are gods and goddesses. Until you don't know that, until you continue to not know that, then humans. But once you know who you are, multi-dimensional beings, family. Welcome to the age of Aquarius. Welcome to the quantum world. See you soon.